Thank you, Mr. President. Many of you yesterday might have seen the news that the President announced that instead of July, there should be enough vaccines for adults by the end of May. I sincerely hope we reach that goal. But the efforts of him and the federal government, for the first time, we've actually seen leadership coming out of Washington. But unfortunately, Republicans in this chamber will be the ones obstructing access to vaccinating Michiganders if they continue to hold back federal money. Make no mistake, their actions are nothing more than standing in the opposition to the governor. If they truly cared about the citizens, we would have voted to release all the federal funds this week. Last night, when I was home to take the dog for a walk, I talked to many of you on both sides of the aisle and even in the executive branch on my walks with my dog. It's the time I have free. I called a friend of mine to check in, and I said to him, "Hey, we released some federal dollars today, to get some more money to schools and some things like that I know folks have been waiting for." And I said, "We did do this sort of arbitrary 20 hours limitation into the in-person classroom is being offered." And he's a teacher. He teaches developmentally disabled children. And he said, "Well, what if we're open 3 days a week and live, and we teach 6.5 hours? You're going to punish our school district for 19.5 hours?" I said, "I know, these are the kind of questions that you would logically ask before you do something so arbitrary, but that's not what we do here." And he said, "Well, I got to tell you something. This is an anecdote, and I know we don't govern by anecdote, or we shouldn't, but I think it's important to note." He said, "I have a student in my class whose mother was unable to take care of her, so her grandmother is taking care of her. Her father passed away recently, unexpectedly, and this grandmother is in the hospital. So my friend took the student home with him because they had nothing else they could do." And he says, "This is the stuff you're focusing on? This is the way you're calling us heroes? Is by putting silly little strings on federal dollars to get into our classrooms so we can actually educate these kids?" There's been a lot of talk, obviously, about the way we determine vaccines, the distribution of vaccines, the implementation of vaccines. Whether we had SVI or any other method, when you hold up vaccination dollars, you're the ones slowing getting our kids back into classrooms. You're the ones slowing us getting back to real life. I just want to make sure I passed along the story because he was frustrated and he has no one he can talk to about it. But fortunately, I do. I did vote for the supplemental, and I will continue to vote for release of federal dollars that are being held up by this Republican majority. I ask that my comments be placed in the record. Thank you very much.